Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to highlight something that Brexiteers need us to remain ignorant of. Namely, that what has happened since Brexit is exactly what Remainers warned about, and as importantly, that Brexiteers constantly rewrite history about what they said would happen. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So let's be honest, Brexit doesn't actually get us anything, does it? It's allowed a few billionaires to dodge their taxes. Actually, they don't have to be billionaires, just very wealthy. People can dodge their taxes more easily now. And some foreign malevolent characters have turned us into a failed state for either political power or their own amusement, whatever. But it hasn't got the general populace anything. It hasn't got anyone anything. And no one can say, oh, I've gained this from Brexit. No one has. No one in Britain. They were never going to get millions of people to vote, however, to leave the EU just for the sake of a few rich people. So some benefits had to be promised. We were promised that we could get better trade deals. We got worse ones. That's why our exports are down when other countries are back into growth. You know, it doesn't matter that they say that these trade deals they're getting are better. They're not, because if they were, growth in trade would be evident. We've got a decline in trade. We were told that there'd be more money for the NHS, but it is suffering from more severe underfunding. Parliamentary committees, which include a majority of Conservative MPs, have just published a report that basically says Boris Johnson has presided over the worst healthcare cock-up in history, modern history certainly. And the government are now trying to get the public to turn on doctors. People were promised more and better jobs, but we're losing jobs because we don't have enough workers to sustain our businesses. Wage growth is also continuing to be in decline. Never mind headline figures about, lorry drivers are getting better paid though. Most people are on less money, in real terms. Even some of those lorry drivers, because thanks to a combination of stagnant wages and higher cost of living, which affects even the ones whose wages have gone up. Now, remember, even if you get a pay rise of 5%, that's still a downgrade if your cost of living goes up 10%. And where the Brexiteers couldn't credibly say that Brexit would improve our lives, they instead said that, at least we'd be no worse off. Nobody has been quoted on this notion more than David Davis, the first Brexit minister, who said that there would be no downsides to Brexit, only considerable upsides. You would imagine someone saying that would, given that everything's kicking off now, would be keeping a very low profile, wouldn't you? Oh, they'd be keeping very quiet. No, not a bit of it. He's shooting his mouth off like all the rest. The media giving him a platform when everything he has said has been proven wrong. Going to do something I don't usually do because it can end up in a bit of a mess. But here is David Davis in the past week talking about the Northern Ireland Protocol.
I think, we predicted this. I certainly predicted this. One of the reasons I resigned. I predicted that there would be these problems with this withdrawal agreement. And I think the European Union may have underestimated themselves. I think even the Irish Republic underestimated themselves. So
now you'll notice he says there that he predicted there would be problems. I'll go over what he actually said in a moment. Needless to say that he famously, of all Brexiteers, did no such thing. He ruled out any problems whatsoever. In addition, he says, the other thing I want to pick up about that thing he just said there, it's like the EU and the Republic of Ireland didn't anticipate the problems. Now, you can see what he's doing here. What he's trying to do is instead of saying, we didn't anticipate those problems and everyone else did because that makes them look stupid, what he's trying to say is, look, we all made a mistake with the protocol. It was all terribly complex and no one really fully understood it. It's in all of our interest to just throw it in the bin and start again. In reality, everybody understood it. Johnson and the likes of David Davis lied about it, but they understood it. And this notion that it's too much hassle for the EU or Republic of Ireland, I just did a video earlier today where I described how the Republic of Ireland have managed to cope very well with the protocol. Northern Ireland have even gained from it. Only British businesses are suffering, and they're not suffering from the protocol. They're suffering from Brexit trade barriers. As I've said before, the protocol was put in place last year. Didn't have any problems with it last year, did we? The problems only started when we left the single market. That's what the issue is. But what David Davis actually predicted in terms of concerning Brexit difficulties, what did he say? Well, shall we let Mr. Davis explain that for himself?
We would not lose anything in terms of our access to European markets because apart from anything else, the German car industry alone would have a 16 billion market put at risk. And Merkel, any German politician would not be able to allow that. So there's a very easy, not easy, but a very straightforward negotiation.
Do you think we would get all the advantages of the single market?
We won't lose anything in terms of access to European markets. Whoops. And why won't we lose anything? Because the German car manufacturers wouldn't let us. Yeah, he's that guy. He's the one who claimed that the German car industry would demand we gain full access to the single market without any obligations on our part, that we could cancel our gym membership, walk out the building, and then walk back in whenever we liked and just do whatever we liked as if we were members but without paying our subs. What happened with that then? Oh, yeah, that's right. They all said the single market was more important than business with the UK. I remember now. Shall we also listen to something else he said? This was after the Brexit referendum, and in his capacity as Brexit minister, he was asked in Parliament if the government had carried out any economic impact studies for individual sectors. Davis said they had not.
Has the government undertaken any impact assessments on the implications of leaving the EU for different sectors of the
Not in sectors. I think there's no sort of systematic impact assessment.
So the answer to the question is no.
Yeah.
So the government hasn't undertaken any impact assessments on the implications for leaving the EU for different sectors of the British economy.
And that's another thing. It wasn't just that these disparate groups of Brexiteers hadn't conducted any research into the impact of Brexit on the various parts of our economy, because they don't care about that. Even the government, with all of its resources and obligations to the country and its population, did not carry out an impact assessment. And this was deliberate. It is standard practice to carry out an economic impact assessment on anything that might have an impact on the economy. It is standard practice. A minister doesn't have to order it. It's standard. Civil servants do it. You have to specifically tell them not to do it. Tearing up decades worth of intricate trading arrangements with our largest market has an impact on the economy. So why wasn't an impact assessment carried out? Why did the government specifically tell civil servants not to do one? Because that's what they would have had to have done. Because they knew the results would be bad. They would seek to hide them, obviously. If they had carried one out, they would, of course, want to hide it. But Parliament forced the publication of a number of reports pertaining to Brexit, Operation Yellowhammer being the most famous, a document that predicted what would happen in the event of a no deal, and it's coming to life before our eyes. Which also highlights that you may be thinking to yourself, but Phil, we got a deal. It just highlights what sliver there is between no deal and what we got. What we got was the thinnest of deals. And if the UK government starts a trade war with the EU, it won't actually be better at all, will it? The government simply could not afford for an economic impact report to even exist. Parliament, because they were asked. In Parliament, Hilary Benn there asked David Davis if such documents existed. If David Davis had said, yes, they do, Parliament would have gone, right, we want to see it. They would absolutely have forced its publication. It was not then the tame group of MPs that the Brexiteers have in place now. And this is the pattern for Brexiteer after Brexiteer. David Davis, Michael Gove, Boris Johnson, Priti Patel, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Nigel Farage, Daniel Hannan, Steve Baker. The list goes on. They all said things about Brexit that have been proven 100% wrong since. Doesn't matter whether you think they were lying or just ignorant. What they said was wrong. People need to stop listening to them. Why on earth would you carry on listening to someone who was getting things wrong, badly wrong, all the time, without ever showing signs that they were learning? In point of fact, I think they were mostly lying. There is a chance that David Davis is one of the ones who just didn't know what he was talking about. He famously tried to go to the wrong country for his first meeting as Brexit minister, not actually knowing where the EU administration was even based. And he took no notes with him at all. Not even a notepad to write things down. Not that the future Brexit ministers were any better. The one that replaced him was Dominic Raab, who announced that before the appointment he hadn't quite understand how important Dover was to our trade. He also presented a speech in Parliament calling for MPs to vote for a particular motion and then promptly voted against it himself. The one after that was Stephen Barclay, who later on suggested that we should break the withdrawal agreement in a limited and specific way. Break international law, he said, in a limited and specific way. This is the thing. Brexit of any form was always going to be messy. A hard Brexit was always going to be harmful. But a hard Brexit pursued by incompetent half-wits who set themselves in direct competition with some of the best trade negotiators in the world was always going to deliver us a turkey of a Brexit deal. Except they can't even deliver turkeys for Christmas, can they? Piss-ups and breweries spring to mind. And as long as we keep listening to these people and nodding along with their nonsense, the situation will only get worse. Liars or fools, it doesn't matter. What they said was wrong. What they are saying now is wrong. What they will say tomorrow will also be wrong. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button if you'd like to support the channel further. Please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.